Learning how to use Photoshop can be extremely daunting and unintuitive when you first start out. As an architecture student, I've picked up some tips and tricks that will help you speed up your workflow and bring your drawings to the next level. So let's get into it. Did you know that you can link your Illustrator files to Photoshop? This allows you to make changes in Illustrator and have them update in your Photoshop workspace. It also greatly reduces the size of your Photoshop file. First, make sure your Illustrator file is saved to your computer and open a new Photoshop file. Then, you'll want to set your resolution to 300. Once it's loaded, go to File, Place Linked, and find your Illustrator file. Click OK, and it will load as a linked layer. Size your image to your liking. You can use the rulers and the transform tool if you need the image to be to scale. You can also link your Photoshop files to other Photoshop files, creating a master spread for easy board layouts. The Magic Wand tool is great for quickly selecting spaces that you want to fill, however, it sometimes leaves this awkward outline. To fix this, select the area you want to fill and go to Select, Modify, Expand. Change to 1 pixel and click OK. Now you can use the Fill tool to color. To color larger areas, use the Polygonal Selection tool and hold Shift. This snaps the line to an orthogonal plane. Double-click at the end to close the selection and use the Paint tool to fill the area. If you want to quickly change the color, go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. To add noise or texture to your drawings, you can use a clipping mask. Select all of your color layers by holding Shift and then copy them with Ctrl+J. Right-click on the copied layers and click Merge. Rename the layer to Merged. Next, copy and paste a textured image from a search engine. Resize this image to fit over your drawing using the Transform tool Ctrl+T. Place the image layer above your merge layer and right-click it. Press Create Clipping Mask. Once clipped, change the style of the layer from normal to multiply and adjust the opacity to your liking. Shadows are a great way to add dimension to your drawings. Take a screenshot of your modeling software with shadows on and paste it into your Photoshop file. Lower the opacity, and then create a new layer named Shadows. Make sure that this layer is above all of your other layers. Now select a bright cool color and use the Polygonal Lasso tool to trace the shadows from your model. You can also use the Magic Wand tool to select entire faces of your building. Just make sure that when you go to use the Paint Bucket tool, you're on the Shadows layer. Now change the layer style from normal to multiply and lower the opacity to your liking. To add fading, hold Ctrl and click on the thumbnail of your shadow layer to select it. Grab your eraser tool or press E and select a fluffy brush. Lower the opacity of the brush and click on the far corner of your shadow where you want it to fade. Patterns allow you to add materiality to your drawings. On a new layer, select everywhere that you want the pattern to be applied to. Then click on the two-tone circle and press Pattern. Photoshop will put a default pattern, but you can load your own. Go to Google and download the pattern that you want and open it up in Photoshop. Go to Edit, Define Pattern, and click OK. Now you can place your pattern and change the angle or size. If you want to change the color, click on the FX button and select Color Overlay. Lower the opacity to your liking. You've learned a lot of tips. Your project should be looking pretty good by now, but there's still something that we need to address. If you're too lazy to name your layers, don't worry, you can group them into folders to keep yourself organized. Grouping allows you to move and manipulate multiple layers at once. To group, select the layers that you want by holding Shift. Right-click and press Group or click Ctrl+G. You can also change the color of your important layers by right-clicking and selecting Color. For vegetation, I downloaded a tree brush pack from Etsy, which on its own looks very nice. To create a line of trees, click, hold Shift, and click again. That doesn't look very good, so I'm going to edit the spacing by selecting the Brush tool and going to the Brush Settings panel. Under the brush tip shape, increase the spacing. Now the trees are visible when I shift-click. To add variety, increase the angle and size jitter under the Shape Dynamics panel. You can also edit the hue jitter under the Color Dynamics panel. Now you can click and have a variety of trees. Smart objects are useful because they allow you to scale an image without losing image quality. Download a transparent PNG from Google and open it in Photoshop. Right-click on the layer and press Convert to Smart Object. Now you can copy-paste the object and it will retain its quality when you scale. To add shadows to your objects, duplicate the layer with Ctrl+J. Then right-click and click Rasterize Layer. Now press Ctrl and click on the layer thumbnail to select it, and paint this layer black using the Brush tool. Drag this layer below your object layer and press Ctrl+T. Right-click on the object and click Distort. Now you can drag the corners to line up with the existing angles of your drawing. Once you're happy with how the transform looks, lower the opacity. Now you can group these layers and duplicate to fill the rest of the space. If you were a fool and forgot to add an outline in Illustrator, you can add the stroke in Photoshop. Select the outside space of your building using the Magic Wand tool and expand your selection by 1 pixel. Right-click on the selection and click Select Inverse. On a new layer, use the Paint tool to fill the space white. Now you can click on the FX button and select Stroke. Here you can change the size and opacity. I always like having a background fill layer because it gives me something to select later on when I'm ready to color. To clear up horrendous photos of process work, go to Edit, Perspective Warp, and draw a box. Align the corners of the box to the corners of the image. Once done, click Warp. Drag out rulers and snap the corners of your box to the corners of the rulers. Click the check mark to finish. Using the Rectangle tool, drag and select your image, then right-click on the selection and click Select Inverse. Press Delete. Now you can delete the rulers and scale up your image. To fix the tone of the paper, go to Image, Adjustments, Levels. Click on the far right eyedropper tool and select the darkest corner of your page to brighten the rest of the image. Then, use the Eraser tool to clean up the edges. For smaller blemishes, click on the Spot Healing tool and color over the areas that you want fixed. Photoshop will use Generative Fill to fix the areas that you select. Alright, those were 10 tips that helped me get through architecture school. Thank you so much for watching!